I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Hello everyone. Welcome back to V Squad TV. Taehyung's emotional return at Jin's Encore concert. The night that reignited BTS's magic. No one could have predicted what was about to happen that night. As the lights at Incheon World Cup Stadium slowly dimmed for the second night of the RUN SEOKJIN EP Tour Encore concert, the atmosphere transformed into something beyond words. Amidst the cheers of thousands of armies filling the stadium, a silhouette appeared on stage. A giant screen behind him displayed the words, "Happy EP Tour in Incheon Encore." And there Kim Taehyung stood, poised, elegant, but his eyes radiated something deep, longing. His performance was captivating that night. Taehyung wore a fitted black suit, his hair neatly combed, and his gaze softly pierced the crowd. As soon as the microphone touched his lips, he whispered softly, "I missed you." Just 3 simple words, but the emotion was so powerful that it brought tears to many fans' eyes. His voice echoed throughout the stadium, and instantly, the atmosphere transformed into an unforgettable moment. It wasn't just a performance. It was a reunion of hearts. As Taehyung began singing "Love Me Again," the entire audience was swept up in a warmth that was hard to describe. Every note, every soft breath, brought back memories of BTS standing on stage as one. The song wasn't just a song, it symbolized longing, of a longing to reconnect with the connection that had been lost over time. As the camera zoomed in closer, a small smile appeared on his lips. Behind that gaze was a mixture of gratitude and years of accumulated emotion. Fans knew that, beneath the calm, Taehyung was fighting back tears. He looked up at the stadium ceiling as if searching for something, perhaps an old memory, or simply to confirm that this was all real. However, the emotional moment wasn't over. Midway through the song, the atmosphere turned even more frenzied. From the audience, another figure appeared, Park Jimin. He jogged over, waving his arms, and the crowd erupted. Seen from a distance, Taehyung looked at him and burst out laughing. The purple stage lights reflected the sparkle in his eyes, making his happy expression even more apparent. The two of them then stood side by side on stage, greeted by seemingly endless applause. Jin, standing in the middle, laughed as his 2 younger brothers smiled at each other and sang together. There was no choreography, no script, just genuine warmth, like a family finally reunited after a long time. The camera panned to Taehyung's face, as he occasionally closed his eyes, letting his voice flow along with "Love Me Again." Fans held their phones aloft, trying to capture every second of the magical moment. "It felt like BTS is truly back," wrote one army on Twitter. And it was true, that night, it felt like time stood still for a moment. Jin then introduced Taehyung as a special surprise guest. But for many, it was more than just a surprise. It was a symbol of true brotherhood. Jin knew how much Taehyung missed the stage, and he sincerely gave him the space to shine. Taehyung looked down slightly, smiling shyly, while Jin patted his shoulder affectionately. When Taehyung returned to greet the audience, his voice trembled gently. "It's been so long," he said. "I miss you all." The cheers echoed like a huge wave, and his calm face made it clear how much he missed ARMY's energy. He reached out to the audience, as if wanting to touch them one by one. The next song Fans on social media flooded hashtags like #TaehyungIsBack, #LoveMeAgainLive, and #BTSReunion. Many wrote that they couldn't stop crying when they heard Taehyung's emotional voice. "He doesn't just sing," wrote one fan, "he speaks from his heart." That night, the stadium transformed into a sea of purple. Thousands of army bomb light sticks vibrated in time with the music. Amidst that sea of light, Taehyung stood on stage, his eyes sparkling and his smile genuine. Every movement felt slow, as if he wanted to soak up every moment of being together. When the song ended, Taehyung bowed deeply. The applause continued. Jin hugged him from the side, and Taehyung chuckled. There were no tears this time, just laughter that came from a calm heart. He waved, looked at each member of the audience, and whispered, "Thank you for waiting." It was a simple sentence, but it carried a deep meaning. He knew that many were waiting for him. Many had faithfully watched his every move during his hiatus. And that night, he reciprocated that love in his own way, through his songs, his smiles, and his sheer presence. After the performance, social media was filled with short videos and photos of that special moment. Many noticed small details, like the way Taehyung looked at Jimin while laughing, or the way he patted Jin on the shoulder before leaving the stage. These were small things that showed the genuine intimacy and affection between them. Even Korean media outlets wrote that Taehyung's performance that night symbolized BTS's reconnection with the world. He wasn't just performing, he was rebuilding a bridge between the group and their fans, something everyone had longed for. As the concert ended, the screen flashed the message, "See you again soon." Many cried as they read it, because for ARMY, it wasn't just an empty promise. It was hope that BTS was slowly returning, starting with this magical night. Taehyung walked slowly to the edge of the stage. He paused, looked at the thousands of faces before him, and then smiled. No more words were needed. His joyful expression was enough to let everyone know he was truly back. In that final moment, Jin embraced him from behind, and Jimin patted his shoulder. The three stood side by side, gazing out at the sea of purple before them. It felt like time had flown back to BTS's early days. Simple, filled with laughter, and surrounded by love. As they waved goodbye one last time, the crowd roared, chanting Taehyung over and over again. He looked down, placed a hand on his heart, and said softly, "I love you." And that night, the world knew. It wasn't about how long they'd been apart, but how strong their bond remained when they finally reunited. That night in Incheon wasn't the end of BTS's story. It was a new beginning, a chapter that marked the way love, once again, found its way home. After the concert, the atmosphere around the stadium remained euphoric. Thousands of fans lingered, hoping to catch a glimpse of Taehyung before leaving. Many sang softly, "Love Me Again," as they gazed up at the Incheon night sky, as if continuing the song they had just witnessed live. Amidst the streetlights and the purple banner that read, "Welcome back Taehyung," there was a warmth that was hard to describe, as if the universe was celebrating his return to the stage. Backstage, the atmosphere was filled with emotion. Taehyung was talking quietly with Jin, both of them chuckling as they stared at the screen showing footage of their performance. A staff member even captured a moment when Taehyung covered his face for a moment, holding back his emotions that threatened to explode. He then said quietly, "I will never forget tonight." The words then spread across social media, becoming a quote that embodied how precious that moment was for him and ARMY. The next day, the name Taehyung dominated all media platforms. From Twitter to Instagram to Korean forums, everyone was talking about one thing: his emotional performance at Jin's concert. Photos of him in an elegant black suit circulated everywhere, with many writing that he looked like someone who had just found his soul on stage. In every comment, fans wrote how much they missed that voice, that laugh, and that peaceful aura he always carried.
Issues. I need a comb to get through. Don't need to groan with you. Just go get your own tissue.
I feel like I'm losing my mind.